Hello, thank you for joining me today. This is another video tutorial by Amanda Fowler of inspiringinkin.com. Today's video tutorial is in the series Bags and Boxes, and this is the Mini Tote Bag. This Mini Tote Bag is a really cute idea for gift packaging. It's a little over 4 inches tall. It's 4 inches at its widest point and about 1.5 inches deep. And just to undo the ribbon just to show you inside. It's actually almost a box inside a bag. There is, if I tilt it this way I hope you can see, there is solid card in the base, which is really important for stability and just to make sure that whatever you put in isn't going to fall straight through the bag. So let's get started. We're going to start off with a piece of Daffodil Delight Designer Series paper. This is a Polka Dot Parade. It has some larger dots and then the small polka dots. This piece is 4 inches by 12 inches. We're then also going to use some more Daffodil Delight cardstock, and this piece is 7 inches by 4.5. And we're going to work on this piece first using our scoreboard. And we're going to score the card at 1.5 inches on all 4 sides. And this is actually going to make the base of your box. You're just going to take some scissors and cut up on the smallest score line on 4 sides. Now I'm just going to fold on all of those score lines just to encourage it to bend. Now the way this is actually going to go together, the 2 cut pieces are actually going to fold on the outside. The reason for that is then on the inside there's nothing to catch. If you're going to put perhaps a scarf or something in there, that there's nothing rough to catch it. But what I am going to do is I'm going to trim these little pieces here. Because they're at the base of the box, I don't want them poking out at the bottom. So I'm just going to trim these sections here. That's on all four sides. I'm just sort of taking a small wedge shape out just to neaten that bit up. So now we're going to glue the box together. I'm going to use my trusty Tombow glue and just put a small amount on the flaps and just fold them in. You want to make sure that the corners are nice and tight to give a nice finish. That's those 2. And then the same again there and there. So that's your box or bag inner. Then I'm actually going to use red line tape, double-sided tape, for attaching the paper. You can use Tombow and it works really well. The only downside to using it is that you have to hold it, and because the paper isn't scored in any way, you'll see as we put it on it tends to move a bit more, bounce a bit more. So I tend to use the red tape. So you need red tape all the way along one of the long edges and along one of the short edges as well. Now this tape, the liner, the red bit of it, is pressure sensitive. So some people struggle getting the red tape off. So just rub over it a couple of times and then you'll find you'll be able to lift it off really easily. Okay, we're going to work from the centre of one of the long edges of the box, And this is the point at which you have to really line it up carefully. What you want is the base of the paper to be exactly in line with the base of the box. And then you're just going to follow it around. Now, you're just going to encourage the paper to curve round the corners. What I'm not doing is I'm not scoring this. I want it to look a bit like fabric, so I don't want to score the corners. Oh. And then just run that through, and again there. Okay, now we're at the last piece. Obviously this tape liner needs to come off, but you'll be able to see it actually overlaps quite a bit. So I put a little bit of Tombow along this edge here, which just helps make a good bond at the back. So I'm just going to peel off the red tape there, coax it around to the back of the box. Then if you put your hand inside, you can just press that together. So obviously, so now you've got the two types of, now you've got the two glues there. Okay, so now let's make the decorations for the box. I'm going to be using oval punches. This is the new style of punch. This is one of my trusty old punches, which has not yet given up the ghost. I've had it, oh, nearly 6 years. So obviously I still use it. There's no point in replacing something that works perfectly well. So if you like things nice and even and exact and precise, you need to measure where you are going to punch this first hole. Or at the very least, mark and measure the second hole. I do it all by eye, so I've punched that one. And then I'm going to line it up, and if I do this so you can see there, I'm looking through this hole into the punch. So I'm going to punch it in the same place on both sides. Then I'm going to make the decoration. If I bring in the original one, and if you were wondering, this is Venetian Romance, this designer series paper, Tangerine Tango and Chocolate Chip. So I'm going to make these little frames, and the way we do that is you punch an oval punch, and then you take the oval scallop and you line it up around the hole that you've just made, and that will give you a beautiful frame. So I need 2 of those, and I also need that for the front as well. So the best glue, again, trusty Tombow. If you just do a few dots or a little bit, you don't want to use very much, because you don't want glue oozing everywhere. And then you're just going to pop that around the tote handle that you've just made. Just do the second one. Now, should you ever get Tombow glue on your projects where you don't want it, Stampin' Up make the most awesome glue eraser, and I haven't done a 2-minute tip about that eraser, but I will do. You need to see it in action. It's fabulous. Okay, so one final thing now, decoration. I'm going to put a little thank you. I'm going to be using the stamp set Lots of Thanks, which is this one. As the name suggests, there are lots of thanks sentiments on there. It's actually a clear mount set. You don't see me using these very often, but quite often I have them for sentiment sets. And I'm just going to punch it out. It's always best to stamp first and then punch. Stick that one on there like so. Then I'm going to attach the sentiment with some dimensionals onto the front of the bag. Line it up, move all this out of the way, and then a little bit of ribbon to tie up the handles of the bag. I tie these bows upside down, which I'm sure you'll have seen on a previous video, and just cut the edges off, and there you have it. So one finished mini tote bag. Thank you very much for stopping by. I'll see you again soon.